This is WHAP Nightly News with James Shelton.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WHAP Nightly News. My name is James Shelton, and I will be your host for tonight. Today has been a special day as our news team is busy out there covering one of the best time periods of the first contact between the two hemispheres. Let's first join our reporter Nicholas Pham, who is uncovering the 1400s.
Thanks, James. Yes, it has been a great day for the world in the 1400s with European exploration just now beginning. The Portuguese were able to improve navigational controls as well as develop a new ship called the Caravel, which could withstand storms on the ocean. And for one of the big stories, Christopher Columbus, who sailed the ocean blue in 1492 on a quest to find a route to Asia, arrived in the Americas, making the first European contact in the Western Hemisphere. We were lucky enough to get some footage as well as interview Mr. Columbus himself. Mr. Columbus, excuse me, Mr. Columbus, what does it feel like to be the first ever European to step foot on America?
America? What is this America you speak about? I have arrived in Asia.
That's great, sir. What country are you sailing for, sir? And why are you here?
I was born in Italy, but I'm sailing for the country of Spain. Under the King Ferdinand and Queen Elizabeth, I was sent on a quest to find a better route that led to Asia and bring back some riches.
Alright, thank you, Mr. Columbus, and congrats on your success. Following Mr. Columbus's voyages, there were disputes over territory. The Treaty of Tordesillas would eventually be signed by both Spain and Portugal in 1494, giving Spain access to most of the Americas and Portugal to Brazil. In the 1500s, Pedro Cabral would accidentally sail too far, arrive at the southern coast of South America, and claim Brazil for Portugal.
Wow, that is amazing, Nick. Following our news coverage, we have reporter Peter Nguyen on the scene at the 1500s.
Hey James, the 1500s is yet another century to be amazed about, as we have European colonization beginning in the Americas. We start off with two spectacular conquests of two great empires. Hernan Cortez set out in 1519 to find the Aztec capital, presumably full of gold. There they met with the emperor, Moctezuma, where they were greeted peacefully. Cortez, however, quickly took advantage and seized the great emperor, leaving their empire to fall. Their success rate was contributed through the factor of advanced weaponry and a small but deadly disease known as smallpox. In 1532, Francisco Pizarro led soldiers to the Incan Empire and attempted to capture the Incan emperor. They were faced with 40,000 warriors. However, the Incan warriors' weapons were no match for the Spanish guns. And his men eventually killed the emperor, leading to a massive rebellion. By 1540, however, the empire was no more.
Go on without me.
That is absolutely amazing. Conquistadors on a search for gold and the spread of Christian faith managed to wipe out two empires. Wow! Next up, we have Alex Nguyen covering the follow-up of the Spanish conquest. Hey Alex! How you doing?
Well, James, after the Spanish success in conquering the Incas and Aztecs, they began to colonize and develop governments. In 1720, Latin America was split into 6 viceroys, as you can see here. Each of these was run by a viceroy along with a bureaucracy, who would basically represent the king and have full control over the area. Under the control, natives were forced to work in the plantations under the encomenda system, which forced them to work for the Spanish. Unfortunately, most of the natives died from diseases such as smallpox, measles, and whooping cough. This, however, would lead into Europeans into looking towards African slave importation. On the bright side, silver was plentiful in the area, allowing the Spanish to prosper and become wealthy. Back to you, James.
Thanks, Alex. For more news tonight, we head to North America as the Dutch, French, and British finally joined the race for colonization. The Dutch were mainly busy trading in East and Southeast Asia. In 1624, however, the Dutch West India Company establishes the colony of New Netherlands in North America. Meanwhile, the British are undergoing political struggles, but eventually established the colony of Jamestown in 1607. The French would colonize up north in parts of Port Royal, also known as Nova Scotia, and Quebec in 1604 and 1608. Here, the three countries began extensive trade with each other and the natives, known as Amerindians. All of this was controlled through the governmental system known as mercantilism, where the economy was strictly controlled by the government and done to benefit the mother country. The colony mainly ruled by joint stock companies, but in some cases the king himself. However, no true powerful government were established in these colonies. Now I think you guys have heard enough of me talking tonight, so let's switch over to Nicholas, who's covering the new beginnings of trade.
As of about the mid-17th century, the Western Hemisphere had been occupied with European colonization. A large cycle of trade, known as the Columbian trade, has already started and is already slowly developing. This trade is between Europe to Africa and then to the Western Hemisphere. This trade cycle has greatly influenced cultural diffusion, leading to increased surplus and growth of demographics. The routes used were known as the Great Circuit, in which, through each route, specific items were traded. From Europe to Africa, guns were traded for slaves, which would be brought to the West. There, they would be traded for pumpkins, corn, squash, and more, and be brought back to Europe. Some traders traveled through the Manila Galleons, which was a route that led through Philippine Islands and other Southeast Asian countries to trade for spices and luxury goods. The 1450 through 1750s were a huge market event to the world. Through this entire period, the Western Hemisphere was united and colonized. The first true global economy was established, and many colonies were beginning to experience migration. All this will eventually lead us into forming our modern world of today.
Boom! Are we on? Great story, Nicholas. Well, that's all we have for you. I'm James Shelton, and thanks for watching WHAP Nightly News. Signing off.